Hi, my name is Neb Camus Sen Atumri, and this Black History video is entitled The 200 Fallen Angels. And it came to pass, when the children of men began to multiply, that in those days were born unto them beautiful and comely daughters. And the Anunnaki, Aluhum, the children of Alun El, the Most High, saw and lusted after them, and said one to another, Come, let us choose us wives from among the children of men, and beget us children. And Semjaza, who was their leader, one of the heads of the 200 fallen angelic beings that fell, said unto them, I fear you will not have to pay the penalty for this great sin. And they all answered and said unto him, and said, Let us swear an oath, and let us all bind ourselves by mutual imprecations, not to abandon this plan, but to do this thing. Then they all swore together and bound themselves by mutual imprecations upon it. And they were all, in all, 200, who descended of Jared, the son of Mahalaleel, and Hannah, on the mount, on the summit of the Mount Hermon. And they called it Mount Hermon because they were sworn and bound themselves by mutual imprecations upon it. And these are the names of the leaders: Semjaza. These are their chief of tens, and all of the others together with them took unto themselves wives, and each chose for himself one. And they began to go in unto them, and to defile themselves with them, and taught them. They taught them charms and enchantments, and the cutting of roots, and made them acquainted with plants. And they became pregnant, and bare them great Nephilims, whose height was 3,000 ells, who consumed all the acquisitions of men. And when men could no longer sustain them, the Nephilims rose up against them and devoured them. And they began to sin against birds and beasts and reptiles and fish, and to devour one another's flesh and drink the blood. Then Tiamat, the planet Earth, laid accusation against these lawless ones. And the reptilians, evil one Azazel, also called Halal, best student Tubal Cain, taught men to make swords and knives and shields and breastplates, and made known to them the metals and the art of working them, and bracelets and ornaments, and the use of antimony, and the beautifying of the eyelids, and all kinds of costly stones, and all different coloring shades. And there arose many who do not follow Anu, and they committed fornication, and they were led astray and became corrupt in all their ways. Semjaza, who is also called Atum, taught enchantments and root cuttings. Amarus taught the resolving of enchantments. Barak taught astrology. Kokab-el taught the constellations. Ezekiel taught the knowledge of the clouds. Araqai-el taught the signs of Tiamat, the planet Earth. Shami-el taught the signs of Afsu, the sun. And Sari-el taught the course of Shizqi, the moon. And as Adamites perished, they cried, and their cry went up to heaven. Then Mordok, son of Enki and Damkina, also known as Melchizedek, Kalkael, son of Azariel, and Rifiel, also known as Uriel or Rudwan, Raphael, son of Waqabiel, and Fikrael, and Nusku, who bore the title Nusku, looked down from the Biru, and they saw much blood being shed on the planet Earth, and all the lawlessness being wrought upon planet Earth. They said one to another, the planet Earth is made without inhabitants, cries the voice of their crying up to the gates of the great city Nibiru in heaven. Now to you, the holy ones, the great city Nibiru, the holy ones of the great city Nibiru, the souls of the Adamites make their suit, saying, bring our cause before Anu Alyun Alyun El, the Most High. They said to Anu, the throne of your glory stands unto all the generation of the ages, and your name holy and blessed unto all the ages. You have made all things. You have power over all things, and all things are naked and open in your sight, and all things you see, and nothing can hide itself from you. You see what the reptilians, evil one, Azazel, or Zuen have done, and who has stored all this unrighteousness on the Tiamat, the planet Earth, and revealed the eternal secrets which were preserved in Nibiru, which men were striving to learn. And Semjaza, to whom you have given authority to bear rule over his associates, and they, the Aluhum, have gone to the daughters of Tiamat, the planet Earth, and have slept with women, and have defiled themselves, and revealed to them all kinds of sins. And the women have given birth to Nephilims and Giborims, and the whole earth has thereby been filled with blood and unrighteousness. Now, behold, the souls of those who have died are crying and making their suit to the gates of the great city Nibiru, and their lamentations have ascended, and they cannot cease because of the lawless deeds which was wrought on Tiamat, the planet Earth. Now, the Kuthites are a certain species of Hindus from the planet Nirvana, which is their own heaven, known as Enkiduites. The Kuthites, the original Hindu people, lived in Nod. They are the disagreeable Anakite of Singha, the sixth planet in Orion, also called Nirvana and Procyon, which means before the dog, the eighth brightest binary star in the Canis Minor constellation. It is called the dog star, the dog being the Sirius star constellation known as the dog star, also Kelb, and as many know as Keleb, Kulab, or Kulub, where the Hindus mixed their seed with the shaggy Bigfoot. Then they came down to earth from the constellation of Orion. Their coming down to earth is recorded in the Upanishads. They came in crafts called Vimanas. These Hindu demons give praise to the avatars of the sky, like Saravasti, also known as Satarupa, Savitri, Gayatri, and Brahman, deity of science, wisdom, and music. Sita, also known as Parthivi, an incarnation of Lakshmi, deity of love, prosperity, and learning. Supay, deity of air. Surya Savitri, deity of sun, the light, and truth. Kotavei, the female warrior who was the deity of war. Kama, deity of desire, which was one of the laws of their realm. Kartikeya, also called Skanda, the six-faced deity of war, the Hindu demon who leads the heavenly hosts into battle and rides a peacock. And these avatars that came down were the 200 fallen Aluhum, Revelation 12, 7 through 9. The Hindu people who have invaded and supplanted us, Nubians, and who now inhabit all our oil-rich nations of Egypt and Africa, who are now causing all the mayhem and the bloodshed on planet Earth today, just as their ancestors had done here on planet Earth. These wolves in sheep clothing are all descendants of the 200 fallen angels, avatars. Holy Quran chapter 997 states, the desert Arabs, red Arabs, are more forceful, severe concealers of that which is the facts, and the biggest hypocrites, and more without knowledge of the limits of what was sent down by the source Allah upon his once sent Muhammad. And the source Allah is the knower, the wise. Holy Quran chapter 6 70 states, and stay away from those red Arabs who have taken their deen or means of judgment, al-Islam, for game and amusement. They think to dress in Islamic clothing and do Islamic things are only tradition. And the life of this physical world has deceived them. Wealth has fooled them. And remind them by it, lest a person will get by which it has earned, and it, each person's spirit, will not have for it, each person's spirit, beside the source of law, any near friend or intercessor. And if he seeks every recompensation, his spirit will not be taken from it. Hell. These are they, the red Arabs, who shall be given perdition for what they earned. For them, there is a boiling hot drink and aching pain, because they were concealers of the facts. These disagreeable Aluhum were hermaphrodites, having male and female genitals. They arrived thousands of years ago in the land of Nod. They moved to the earth to set up Bali, their secret homeland on earth, where they used the images of many thousands of creatures that incarnated to this planet. There in Bali, they are worshipped to this very day. This is the original black man. For those of you who thinks himself a black man, which is in reality green, as the greenest of olives, merely peep at the hieroglyphics of the deities on the walls of Kemet, which is called Egypt today, and you will see the original color you were. These Hindus were used to breed what are called the original Aryan race. Yaqub's grafted seed, the Halabians, the Plugelrods, or Hulub. Yaqub's scientists carried out his plan after they traveled from Arabia to ports around Africa seeking just the right place for his laboratories in the making and grafting of his new Aryan race. Some of these Kuthites jumped ship at every port they stopped at around Africa. They supplanted themselves on the seashores of Mother Ganawa, Africa, mixing in and taking control. These black-skinned and straight-haired tribes never ventured into the heart of Ganawa, but controlled the ports and the sea coast. They fathered the slave trade of woolly-haired from Zanzibar. They called themselves by new names: Egyptians, Ethiopians, Djiboutians, on around to Mauritanians, Moroccans, Tanzanians, and so on till this day. As a child, Yaqub was the subject of much attention because he had the head the size of two men. And when he grew up, many referred to him as the big head scientist. Yaqub, as he was called, wanted to get revenge on his people for their scorn and mockery, to show forth his power and wisdom. Declaring himself the righteous, he made a people genetically and mentally weak to give them power to rule. These are the people that are ruling the planet today. And the recessive gene of the black-skinned, straight-haired beings called Asiatic black man was grafted into the red man, and grafted into the yellow man, then grafted onto the pale man of the grotto, or the grotto, meaning caves. The breach took place prior to the flood of Utnapishtim, Noah, and they manifested in the physical form that their incurable diseases would be apparent to you. For now you see him as well as feel him as he lives in your midst. For on the day of standing, you will have no excuse for loving him and his. And we, Elohim and Nunakai, too, came down and placed our seed in the daughters of mortals, that we may establish a kingdom on earth as it is in heaven. 23 Sarufat or Seraphim first. His dangerous nature makes it imperative that we arrive at an in-depth understanding concerning the ancestry of people. For we must recognize the specific realm of activity assigned to each being. The leper and the children of many hues and colors. Many are deceived into thinking that this includes the devil's children, and it means that we fashioned you on earth in the likeness of the most precious garden with all sorts of beautiful flowers. At the end of the strain is the leper and the grafted germ. He is a deceiver who calls himself good, but he is not. For he is a temple in which his father Halal dwells. He will come out, and he did, in the fourth son of Utnapishtim, second son Ham. His seed will be known by their lack of color and their leprous disease, cursed from the very day they are born until judgment day. Do not mix your seed with Cain's children, the black devils, nor the sons and daughters of the 200 Garubat, pale devils, nor the children of graftation, the Holub, not even the cursed seed of Canaan, who manifested in Utnapishtim's time, who is called Noah. The war between the man called the black man, the East Indian, and the man called white, the pale man or European, is not your war, Nubians. It is a war between man and mankind. You are deities. You are more than men. Thus ends today's video. We hope you have learned something from this video, and we urge you to share this video and to subscribe to the only channel where you will learn true ancient Egyptian mysteries. No more lies, no more guesswork. So share, subscribe, click on the like button below, and see you at the next video.